The topic is round robin scheduling algorithm. So this type of scheduling algorithm basically used in multitasking operating system, or you can say time sharing operating system. So this round robin algorithm used in time sharing system. So what is multitasking, or you can say time sharing operating system? On the we have already discussed in the previous video what is multitasking operating system and what is. So we have already discussed in the previous video what is multitasking and time sharing operating system. So this type of algorithm used in this type of operating system. So for an example, we can take an example. Suppose you are working in your laptop and at the same time you are listening to your song and simultaneously you are surfing internet, and also at that time some background process are also running at the same time. So it is not like that all the processes are running simultaneously. That is not true actually. Operating system allocate time quantum to each process, and on the basis of that time quantum process is running. It seems like that all the processes are running simultaneously, okay, because of switching. Okay, one process is switching. Switching means currently running process is removed from the CPU and another process is picked by the operating system and it will put into the CPU for running for basis of some time quantum. Okay, that is called switching. So switching is happening in this multitasking, or you can say time sharing operating system, and switching is so fast that it seems like that all the processes are running simultaneously, but that is not true actually. Some time quantum is given to each process, and on the criteria of that time quantum each and every process is running. So this type of scheduling algorithm is similar to first come first serve, but the mode of this round robin scheduling algorithm is preemptive version. Okay, preemptive means the process which is running at the ready state, you cannot forcefully remove that process from the CPU till its termination. So this round robin scheduling algorithm is similar to FCFS and the mode is preemptive version. And what is this time quantum? What is this time quantum? I am again and again saying that time quantum, some time quantum is given to each and every process. What is that? Time quantum. So time quantum is the time period, is the period in which a process is running, a process is executing in CPU uninterrupted on the basis of preemptive multitasking operating system on one go. Okay, so it follows the first come first serve scheduling on the criteria of preemptive. So it is not like that we pick the process from the ready state and allow the process and allocate that process to the CPU on the basis of arrival time or any burst time, and it will run in the CPU till its termination or until another process will come to the CPU. It is not like that. We pick the process from the ready state and allocate to that process to the CPU on the basis of time quantum actually. The criteria is what? The criteria is time quantum. Here 5 processes are given and arrival time of each and every process is here and burst time is given. All the processes are CPU bound time. None of the processes are go to the IO operations, or these are not IO bound time. All the processes are CPU bound time. So in this numerical we consider only the burst time, not IO time. Okay. So to solve this type of numericals, we have to maintain the ready queue. If you maintain a ready queue properly and correctly, there is a less chance that you get the answer wrong. Okay, so I highly recommend you to draw the ready queue, to maintain the ready queue correctly and properly. Okay, suppose the time slice or the time quantum is three unit of time. Okay, so 3 unit of time, and I have told you that this round robin algorithm is done with the FCFS with preemptive version. So the process, the switching is happening in the round robin, and that process continue in the circular fashion or in the round robin fashion. Okay, so here we have to consider arrival time plus time quantum. On the basis of that, we pick the process from the ready state and allocate to that process to the CPU on the criteria of arrival time and time quantum. So now draw the Gantt chart. Before draw the Gantt chart, we have to maintain the ready queue. So look at the ready queue. Look, at time 0, which process is arrived at the ready state? We have to check out that. Which process come first? At time 0, see this one, P1. P1 has been arrived at the ready state first. So we have to allocate P1 in the ready state first. So at time 0, is there any process which is arrived at the ready state? No, there is no process that came into the ready state at time 0. So only one process is there in ready state, and we have to pick the P1 from the ready queue and put it into the CPU Gantt chart. So P1 is now in CPU, and it is not like that. P1 is having burst time 8 millisecond. So you have to allocate P1 for 8 millisecond, as this is similar to FCFS. No, because the criteria is what? Arrival time plus time quantum. So time slice is given 3 unit of time. So round robin is what? The process is running in CPU till the time slice is expired. Okay, so it will continue its execution for 3 unit of time. So we have to update this burst time also. Among 8 unit of time, from 8 unit of burst time, it will complete only 3 units of time, and rest execution time, still it's need 5 unit of time to complete its execution. Okay, so after that, now switching is happening. After the time quantum is expired, it will again still 5 unit of time is need to P1 for completes its execution. So after the time slice expired, it will again go to the ready queue and another process will come to the CPU. This is called switching process. But now we cannot put the P1 directly here, because we have to check, is there any process has been arrived in the ready state during its execution, during its running, when the P1 is continue its execution. Is there any process who have been arrived in the ready state? Yes, P3, which came at 1 millisecond. When somewhere the time is 1 millisecond, between 0 to 3, somewhere it is 1 millisecond, the P3 came into the ready state. So we have to allocate P3 first. P3. And after that, we have to check, is there any process during this execution 3 millisecond, is there any process which having arrived at the ready queue? No. So after allocating P3, then we can switching the P1 to the ready state again. Okay, the P1 is go to the ready queue. So first is P3. Now the turn of the P3 is to go to the CPU. Okay, we can allocate P3 to the CPU. How many time? Same, for 3 unit of time. As the burst time of the P3 is 7 millisecond, but it will continue, it will run in the CPU for 3 unit of time. That is, at 6 millisecond, it will again go to the ready state. Fine. So the rest still it's need 4 unit of time to complete its execution. Again we have to check at 6 millisecond during the execution of the P3, is there any process which came at the ready state during between 3 to 6 millisecond? Yes, P2 have been arrived at 5 millisecond, and at 6 millisecond P4 also arrived at the ready state, and at 6 millisecond also P3 will preempted. Okay, so we have to put P2 first, because P2 arrived at first at 5 millisecond, and at 6 millisecond P3 will preempted, and at 6 millisecond P4 also arrived at the ready state. If this case arises, then what will happen? Which process we have to pick and put into the ready state? If this case arises, then we have to pick the process which arrived first, not which is running in the CPU. Okay, so we have to allocate P4 first in the ready queue, and after that P3 will be preempted. Okay, now P3 is in ready queue. Okay, so see, at 6 millisecond, is there any process which is in ready state? No, because P5 will come at 8 millisecond, and all the other process all have been arrived at the ready queue, and last one is P5 which will come at 8 millisecond. Okay, now we have to pick the process from the ready queue to the CPU. So first process is P3, next is P1. So we have to allocate P1 again. For how many time? Time slice is 3 unit of time. So 6 plus 3, that is 9 millisecond, 9 unit of time. So the burst time, we have to maintain this burst time, update its burst time. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So P1 still need 2 millisecond to complete, to terminate. Okay, now P1 again preempted to ready queue. Again check out, during between 9 millisecond, before 9 millisecond, is there any process which is arrived at the ready queue? Yes, at 8 millisecond we have P5. So let us put this P5 to ready queue, and then we have to preempted P1 again to the ready queue. Fine. So next is P2. We have to allocate P2 here. For how many time? For 3 unit of time. So the burst and check out the burst time of P2 is 2 millisecond, but the time slice is 3 millisecond. It is not like that. We have to allocate P2 to the CPU for 3 millisecond and the time would be 12. At 12 millisecond, P2 would be terminated. No, that is not right, because the burst time of P2 is 2 millisecond and the time slice is 3 millisecond. Then we have to allocate P2 to the CPU for the basis of the burst time only. So it will execute in CPU for 2 millisecond, that is 11. At 11 millisecond, P2 would be terminated. Okay, so P2 is done now. So no need to preempted P2 to again to the ready queue. Okay, no need, not necessary to put the P2 into the ready state because P2 already terminated. Okay, next is P4. Put the P4 into the CPU. For how long time? For burst time is 3. Okay, the burst time is 3 millisecond and the time quantum is 3 millisecond. So P4 will be terminated. 12, 13 and 14. At 14 millisecond, P4 would be terminated. So P4 is done now. Fine. Next is P3. Put the P3 into the CPU. So what is the burst time of the P3? That is 4 millisecond and the time quantum is 3 millisecond. Okay, so still it needs 1 millisecond to complete its execution. Okay, so 14 plus 3, that is 17. Fine. So again P3 will be switching. Again we have to put P3 here. P3 pick by the operating system to the CPU and again it is preempted to the ready queue to complete its 1 unit of time. Okay. Next is after P3 we have to put P5 to the ready queue. Look at the burst time of the P5, 5 unit of time. So 5 minus 3, that is 2 unit of time. So P5 execute in CPU for 3 unit of time because time quantum is 3 unit and it needs 2 unit more. Again P5 will be preempted, will be put into the ready state and no need to check again and again is there any process which have arrived in the ready state because all the processes have been arrived at the time 9 milliseconds. Okay. So next is at 20 millisecond. So P5 need 2 millisecond more to complete its execution. P5 is again preempted. And again P1 for how many time? Check out the rest time, that is 2 millisecond. That is 22. Now P1 is terminated. Next P3. P3 need 1 unit of time. So that is 23. And last one P5. P5 need 2 millisecond. Okay. That is 24 and 25. Here no need to add the time quantum because already the burst time is 2 millisecond. So the advantage of this round robin algorithm is that this algorithm gives you the deterministic response time. This gives you the deterministic response time, the minimum response time as compared to other algorithm. Okay. So let us find out the completion time, turnaround time, waiting time, response time, average turnaround time and average waiting time. First is completion time. Check out, for P1 we have to check from right side. Okay, for P1 completion time is 22. For P2 completion time is 11. For P3 completion time is 23. For P4 completion time is 14 and for P5 completion time is 25. Okay, you have to check from right side. Okay, so next is turnaround time. Turnaround time means completion time minus arrival time. Okay, for P1 turnaround time is 22 minus 0, that is 22, and for P2 11 minus 5, that is 6. For P3 23 minus 1, that is 22. For P4 14 minus 6, 8. For P5 turnaround time would be 25 minus 8, that is 17. Okay, let us find out the waiting time. Waiting time would be turnaround time minus burst time, and here we will take the actual burst time, not this 5, 2, 4, 1. This is the rest time that a process need to terminate. Okay, the actual burst time is 8, 2, 7, 3, 5. We will take that actual burst time. So the waiting time for P1, the waiting time, turnaround time minus burst time, that 22 minus 8, that is 14. Then for P2 6 minus 2, that is 4. For P3 22 minus 7, that is 15. For P4 turnaround time minus burst time 8 minus 3, that is 5, and for P5 17 minus 5, that is 12. So this is the waiting time, and let us find out the response time. I have already told you this algorithm will give you the deterministic response time, the minimum response time. Okay, so response time means at first a process is allocated to the CPU at first time. Okay, so for P1 the arrival time of the P1 is 0, and as well as the P1 is allocated to the CPU at that time. So response time of the P1 would be 0. For P2, at first time P2 allocate to the CPU at 9 millisecond, 9 unit of time, and the arrival time of the P2 is 5. So P2 had to wait for 4 millisecond to allocate to the CPU. So 9 minus 5, that is 4. And for P3, the time is 3 unit of time and the arrival time is 1. So 3 minus 1, that is 2. For P4, at first P4 allocate to the CPU at 11 millisecond and the arrival time of the P4 is 6. Okay, so response time is 5. And last one, for P5, check out the first unit of time, that is P5 is allocated to the CPU, that is 17, and the arrival time of the P5 is 8. So 17 minus 8, that is 9. If we calculate the average turnaround time, average waiting time and response time, then the average turnaround time will be 15 and the average waiting time is 10 and the average response time is 4. Okay, the average turnaround time is 15, average waiting time is 10 and average response time is 4. Okay, so round robin algorithm, the advantage of the round robin algorithm is it gives you the deterministic response time or the minimum response time as compared to other algorithm. And the main drawback of this type of scheduling algorithm is we cannot say that it is better than first come first serve algorithm. Okay, it is not better than FCFS, because if we take in this numerical we took 3 unit of time slice. Okay, if we took 10 unit of time slice time quantum, if the time quantum would be 10 unit, then this algorithm is work as well as first come first serve algorithm. The turnaround time, waiting time, response time, and the average turnaround time, waiting time, response time of the first come first serve algorithm is similar to this round robin algorithm if the time quantum is taken higher, taken 10 unit of time. And another drawback is there are many context switching is happening, which is not good for a processor. Okay, so again and again context switching is happening. If the time is taken, suppose 1 unit of time. So here P1 is continue its execution for 0 to 1, and again it would be preempted to the ready queue, and again another process will come and again that process also continue its execution till 1 unit of time. This is how the context switching is happening, and more context switching is happening, which is not good for a processor. Okay, so we have to take time slice, time quantum, not large and not less. If we take less time quantum, then more and more context switching will be happening, and if we take large quantum like 10 unit of time, 20 unit of time, because this similar to FCFS, so we have to allocate the process, we have to pick up the process which come first, and it will execute in CPU for 10 and 20 unit of time. Okay, then it will work as well as FCFS algorithm. Okay, so we cannot say it is better than FCFS. So that is the main drawback of this round robin algorithm. And the advantage that I have already told you, that it will give you the minimum response time, the deterministic response time. So that's all in this video. See you in the next one. Thank you.